What's good, everybody? It's your boy Flock representing the game of Illuminaughty, and we have another edition of the GI5. This time, we are going to do our top 5 Marvel movies of all time. And we are not putting any restrictions on the Marvel movies. I know a lot of people like to just consider the MCU as the Marvel movies. No, if it got a Marvel stamp on it, it counts. That's what we're gonna do. And then that also eliminates a lot of people from picking the same movies over and over, and then y'all just basically hear us talking about the same movie time and time again. So this is how we're gonna do it. You know how we do it. If you don't, this is what we do. We start from 5, work all the way down to 1. We throw in some honorable mentions. Everybody get their turn. We do a round table with it. And while we're doing that, the others just kind of wait around. We get to 1. Then we let y'all know why we like these movies, you know what I'm saying, as we're going. Try to do it as quick and as neat as possible without doing too much talking about it. So without any further ado, let me get y'all in here with everybody else in tune. First off, we got the homeboy JG. Say what up to the people.
This ain't triple threat, but the rap is about to get sweat, you heard?
All right, ace of all trades. Say what up to the people.
I heard it's called LeBronto, not Toronto. Damn.
Facts.
I'm just saying though, I ain't gonna say nothing. I piss enough people off on Twitter about that.
That's factual.
AKA Mr. Fortnite himself, Siggy Guns, AKA Boogie Bomb Baby. Say what up to the people.
What up? What up?
And we have
you're missing out. No, just
oh, okay. Okay. And we have a Patreon supporter involved in this with us, Philly Phil. Say what up, my guy.
My Celtics are winning. I'm just gonna say Ben Simmons at 1 point. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Oh my God.
Okay. Now you know if they lose the next 2 games, they're gonna come after you, right?
Facts.
Fine, we still gonna win though.
I mean, they ain't won a game on the road yet, so we gotta see.
And they're 0-11 versus the Celtics all time. So
Okay.
when they're 0-2.
All right. I don't really care.
mean,
Either way, y'all both of those teams are just feeder fish for the Cavaliers anyway, so it don't matter. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Y'all go get whatever team comes out this series go get beat down by Cleveland. Let's just call it what it is. I gotta be the realist here. And of course, so we're going to start with Siggy Guns. What is your number 5 Marvel movie, in your opinion, sir?
I got X-Men Days of Future Past. So out of all the X-Men movies, to me, this one was the best one. It was the story, the characters, the everything about it. I liked it. I really did. It was whenever it came out, it was like, wow, they finally did X-Men right, in my opinion. And I had to put it up there, especially since we expanded the list to all Marvel movies. Originally I had all MCU movies in here, and it took a little bit of thinking to see if I could really put a movie up there, but this one was the one that went for me.
All right. Philly Phil.
I'm gonna have to go with X-Men Origins Wolverine. It told the story about Wolverine, and I really liked it. I really don't have nothing to say. It was just a good movie to me.
I like the movie. I like the game better than I did the movie. I'm serious. I like the video game better than I did the movie.
I mean, to each his own. But I still liked it. Hugh Jackman did a good job. Even when he was playing his younger stuff, it was still good for me.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy. All right. JG.
All right. I'm going to have to give my number 5 to the original Spider-Man 1. Now, back in the day when I was growing up, I used to watch a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men cartoons. And to see Spider-Man in movie form was it was groundbreaking to me. I watched this movie legit 3 times in the theaters, and I just couldn't stop watching it. And I know that a lot of people love the new Spider-Man. I do too. I think it's really good. But Tobey Maguire has to go. I know the Spider-Man 3, everybody try to discredit him because of that, but I still think that he did a good job as Spider-Man. And it was just iconic to me. It was more of a nostalgia thing. Just seeing it in movie form was hella dope to me. So that's why I picked that one.
Spider-Man 3 was the one with Venom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, that one. Yeah.
That's why nobody. Yeah, that's why everybody just said, "Oh, Tobey Maguire sucks." And I don't think it was.
That's when
it
he
was just
did
bad
the.
writing,
That's the
bad
one when he
writing.
did the cringy, the
The
cringy,
walk,
the
yeah.
cringy walking and stuff. Yeah, that was.
Right.
And then let's not forget the Topher Grace's Venom. That was pretty bad.
That was.
Did not like that at all. I can't front. And I love Venom. Like Venom to me is my favorite Spider-Man villain. So, but yeah, that was not very good. Was that it?
Yeah.
All right, Ace, what's your number 5, sir?
All right, my number 5. I'm taking it way back. I'm taking it back to 1998, baby. If y'all don't know, the homie Blade. That has to be my number 5 choice. It just gotta be, because that was one of those movies that I could watch all the time. I think the casting was really dope, and the fact that Wesley Snipes played Eric Brooks as Blade, I always thought it was really cool. Like him being the Daywalker, and like looking at the comics and everything like that, it was so dope. And like even now in 2018, I can still pick up that movie and watch it, and then still get excited watching the Blade trilogy, but especially the original one. And I can't go without major shout out to Blade. So Blade was my number 5 choice.
You were 3 years old watching that, huh?
I was 8. Thank you.
I was 8. Thank you. That's funny. All right, my number 5, I would have to give it to Spider-Man 2. I like Spider-Man 2 better than Spider-Man 1. Why? Because I just think Tobey Maguire did a better job. They focused more on a lot more of the action and whatnot. Although I wasn't a fan of the Dr. Octopus and stuff in there, but I still think the fight scenes and stuff were a lot better. I think the acting was, at least on the Spider-Man's part, was a lot better. So for that reason, I think it was just an overall better movie. I think they heightened, what they could have, what they did. They actually exceeded what they did in Spider-Man 1. Although Spider-Man 1 was great, but I just thought that Spider-Man 2 was a better, from like an action standpoint. I think it just did a little more for me.
That's gonna be our next top 5. Which sequel was better than the first?
Right. There's a lot of them.
Any movie?
Any movie.
All
Or,
right.
Write
it down. Don't
Right.
forget. Don't
There's
forget.
not that many, but I
All
know
right.
some.
All right, so we'll go to number 4. This time we will go with you, Phil. What is your number 4?
I would have to say Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, to me, I didn't really get to read the comics about him, so hearing about his backstory was pretty brutal in my opinion, and then trying to get his recovery with magic, that was pretty interesting. It's just magic it's kind of weird, but it's cool in a way.
I actually never knew about. I mean, I would always hear the name Doctor Strange, but I never really knew who he was until I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah,
that was my first introduction really to Doctor Strange. So
I didn't even know why he was called the Doctor until I saw the movie. So yeah.
I mean, don't judge me, but I never watched Doctor Strange movie. I didn't get to see it. I didn't get to see it. I just did.
So you're probably looking at the other one, the new Adventure, like, whoa, what the hell?
No, I mean, I knew about him. I mean, I do my homework on people and stuff. It's just I didn't get to see his actual movie. I mean, I knew about him and stuff like that. I knew what he was about. Like I said, after playing Ultimate Alliance, I kind of did some research on him and just knew about the actual character. All right, let's see. Siggy, what is your number 4?
Winter Soldier. I have Winter Soldier out there, and for a long time that was one of my favorite ones. But some of these recent ones have been coming out to kind of push this one lower. But man, when Winter Soldier came out, I thought that was the best movie at that time for sure, of all the Marvel movies. And there's not much I can say about Winter Soldier except it was just a great film. It was a comic movie that was the first one where I could say that it was a great film. You know what I mean? It's not just
all the action, all the action and that hocus pocus. It was just it was a good movie because Captain America doesn't do all of that. It's just straightforward. Yeah, I feel you. All right, JG.
Yeah, so my number 4 is Ace's fifth, Blade. And the funny thing about this is, and I know I ended up probably seeing him afterwards in the Spider-Man cartoons, but I didn't even know that Blade was part of the Marvel Universe when I first saw this. And another funny story, which doesn't have anything to do with me per se, but my friend, he always thought that Blade was a scary movie. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there was a scary, yeah. I still don't know why to this day he does not want to watch.
Because we got vampires and
He was scared of the blood. To the club where all the blood was pouring down.
Yeah, I don't know what it was, but before I even knew that he was a Marvel character, I was in love with Blade. Like Blade was super dope. I like Steven Dorff in this movie a little bit better than Wesley Snipes. I feel like he made a great like main villain in Deacon Frost. Like he was super dope. It was just all of the action, all the scenes, all the blood, the original Blade, and Wesley Snipes he played Blade very, very well. So that's gonna be my number 4. It was super dope movie.
nice. All right. I'll go with my number 4. My number 4 is the original Iron Man movie. I mean, do I really need to talk about that? I mean, Terrence Howard in it, man. Yeah, Terrence Howard in it, man. Like, come on, Tony, man. You know what I'm
It was
saying?
hard leaving that movie off the list. Man.
He
Yeah.
said destroy the stone, man.
Destroy the Stone, man. I mean, you got Terrence Howard in there, man. Come on, man. Terrence Howard. He was the original roadie, but you know, I wish he was still in there. Yeah, but
Bruh,
they found
I know
somebody
he's kicking
cheaper.
himself in his ass, bro. I know he's.
Get some more money, man.
oh man,
I
I'm
don't
good,
even
man.
know.
I'm playing Lucius Lyon out here, man.
Right.
But yeah, the original Iron Man. I was always a fan of Iron Man in itself. The movie, it was just a good movie. Like you compare 1 to 3, and it was just like, what happened? Like I thought 3 was terrible. Just my personal opinion. I thought 3 was terrible. But 1 is like just Tony Stark, yo. He just I mean Robert Downey Jr. He just. It's right. I had to make sure I didn't say that on accident, man. On accident playing it with that. But that dude, like, that was his comeback. Like, yeah, remember he was always getting in trouble, you know what I'm saying, with drugs and all that type of stuff, man. But he came back and when you think of Iron Man, you think of Tony Stark. That's who you think of now. So it's like not many people can like hold that title, man. That movie was like a great movie. Like what Siggy said, it's a great film. Like minus all the extra stuff that's in it. I mean, all the technology and stuff like that. That's cool, but it was still just a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those movies that had you like really, really engaged. So for that reason, I got Iron Man as my number 4. Ace, what is your number 4, sir?
Mine is actually what Phil's was too with Doctor Strange. Now, my reasoning is a little bit different. I agree with him. I really didn't know much about it when it came to like the comics and everything. I knew who he was and everything like that, but actually seeing more of his backstory. And I like the movie too because when he did learn the magic abilities and everything like that, it really made you think. Made you think about a lot of other things, about thinking outside of what you're typically have been taught as a kid, going up into an adult, and like his story and everything like that resonated with me, and I thought it was really, really cool. And I felt like Doctor Strange is a slept-on movie. I felt like I know people like it, but I don't feel like as a character and as an Avenger, people really give him the clout he really deserves. I believe. I think that he's a much better Avenger and Marvel character than some people would like to admit. But that would be my number 4, Doctor Strange.
All right. Well, we'll go right back to you. What is your number 3?
All right. Now when number 3 is hard, like and it gets up there, like it could change like on a different day. But at this moment, right now, I'm gonna say Captain America: Civil War has to be my number 3 choice. In my opinion, next to Winter Soldier, is one of the best Captain America movie. And I think some people may forget. They think that was an Avenger movie. No, that's not an Avenger movie. That's a Captain America movie. And the one thing about Captain America: Civil War was I always felt like Captain America in general. His movies each get better through time. Unlike Iron Man, when it started off with the original and goes straight down, I feel like Captain America only got propelled up. every movie just hit. And with Captain America Civil War, when you had everybody going against each other, you bring Ant-Man, and you don't know how excited I was when they finally showed Spider-Man in that trailer, and they released it, and they said that Spider-Man was going to be in it. I was so excited. I was like, man, this is about to be a dope movie. And of course, like Siggy said earlier, I mean, this movie could have been easily higher up on the list, but due to some of this fire that's been coming out with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's just so hard. But Civil War's got to be my number 3 choice.
All right, JG.
My number 3 is gonna have to go to X-Men: Days of Future Past. I feel like I couldn't leave the top 5 without putting an X-Men movie on there. I'm a huge X-Men buff, and minus how bad the X-Men movies were, Days of Future Past, I feel like they got it right. Shout out to Patrick Stewart for the original X-Men movie. Again, even though it was bad, but that's my guy playing Professor X. But they did an amazing job at phasing him out and bringing in some younger Professor X and Magneto. And it was actually like very dope. Just seeing like the original X-Men, and then like just seeing them like what they did going in the past and like basically shaping that whole story again. So all I want to see, and I just can't wait for it, is to actually put the X-Men into the MCU with everybody else. That's all that I want. But until then, I'll deal with Days of Future Past as being like by far my favorite X-Men movie out of all of them, and it's gonna be my number 3 on this.
Yeah, whenever I was talking about the 5, I forgot about that too. That's why I was a little better. So they actually had both the new generation and the old on it all together on one screen. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So it paid homage to that. Yeah, it was just great.
All right, Phil.
I'm gonna have to go with Spider-Man: Homecoming. I like this new Spider-Man better than the old two. It's because this Spider-Man is a mix of both Toby and Andrew. He's nerdy, but he can still get the job done. And I like the sense of humor he has, and it was just a good movie with Iron Man in it too. So it's just an added plus for me.
I'm shocked it didn't make as much money as I thought it would make, especially since it has Iron Man in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was shocked by that.
Probably because it was another Spider-Man, and most people thought it was gonna have another uncle died and that story. But I'm glad they didn't add that because it was getting old.
That's exactly why you're like 100% correct. And plus, like we were like, damn, we're already in the 3rd iteration of Spider-Man. Like people were just kind of done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like either you're going to play Spider-Man, you're going to continue to do it for at least 3 movies, or don't
Uncle
do it at
Ben,
all.
no.
I think after Infinity War though, now having a new Spider-Man, I think people will come out for it now for sure.
I'm ready for the second one.
You just said no.
All right, Siggy, what's your number 3?
So it kind of in the same predicament as Ace here. I have Black Panther, and this one was, higher at one point, but he flip-flopped with what I got. I had to put it number 2 instead. But Black Panther, though, another movie, just like I said with Winter Soldier, just a great film, period. And this was probably like one of the first films where you actually wanted, like, you felt sympathy and you actually liked the bad guy. They made it was like you almost wanted him to be Black Panther. Yeah, I just watched it again earlier today, and yeah, it's just great that you find yourself cheering for the bad guy in the film. So I like that, and that's the reason why my number 1 film that I have, we'll talk about later. I kind of like that, just cheering for the bad guy.
All right.
So I have that one at 3.
Yeah. All right, my number 3, I had to go with X2, X-Men United.
Wow, that's a good one. That's a good one. Nah, I'm not mad at that.
No, wait a minute. I gotta hear the reason for this. Go ahead.
I mean, Nightcrawler. Besides that, I mean, the cast that they had in there. I mean, look at all the characters that were in that
Halle
movie.
Berry.
I mean, yeah. I mean that don't hurt, but I was never a fan of Halle Berry as Storm. I thought Angela Bassett would have been a better Storm. But that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I mean, I just thought she was there for eye candy. I don't think she played a very good Storm. She was too calm and reserved. Storm would wild out,
It's funny because she's like the complete opposite in real
Exactly.
life. She's been crazy. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, that's why they call it acting. But
I'm kind of shocked by it because that's generally when most people list the X-Men, they have that one as the worst one.
no,
So,
actually X3 was the worst.
That Last Stand
Yeah,
bullshit.
Last Stand was the worst. X2 was actually pretty good. And I'm not gonna lie, I was torn between this one and First Class because I always liked First Class.
yeah, First Class.
I really did. I always liked First Class. But yeah, I just like the actual people in it. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of people in X2. You know what I mean? So, and I'm a huge X-Men fan, so of course I had to throw some X-Men in. And I'm like JG. I wish they just stop playing and make it where we can get some good X-Men side of the coin type movies.
Now that they bought Fox, maybe it'll happen.
Yeah, I mean
It is. It's just a matter of
It's
when.
it's just gonna
But
take its time.
just
It's gonna take time, and we know those movies are a little more on the grittier side. You know what I mean, as opposed to the the stuff with like the Avengers and stuff like that. I mean, the Fox movies are a little more grittier. So yeah, so like I said, man, I just like that. You know what I mean? Phoenix. I mean, need I say more? Just what it is, yo. I mean, I'm just a huge X-Men fan. So all right, so we can get into the number twos. We can start with JG. What's your number two?
My number 2 is going to be The Black Panther. I pretty much agree with Siggy on this one. It was interesting to see, like, not really a true villain, just someone who wanted to be accepted. He was wondering, like, what was going on. Why is Wakanda sitting here idle while everybody else in the world is getting tortured? All of our people are living in poverty, living in sin, all this other stuff, and Wakanda is not doing anything. So it was like something that you can definitely agree with him, and at the same time agree with T'Challa and what he wants to do. And he definitely, persuaded him at the end of the movie to, do right and, start telling the world, what Wakanda got going on. So amazing movie from beginning to end. I absolutely loved it, and I've seen it like 3 times already. I ended up seeing it in the barbershop again today randomly. I was like, oh man, like I still love the movie. So that's my number 2.
All right. Ace.
I actually, for my number 2, I actually might make some people mad with this one, but I'm gonna do my number 2 is gonna be Avengers: Infinity War. First of all, that movie's just ridiculous. Like, that man Thanos came through like Big Worm, like, yo, where my stones at? Don't be playing with my stones, Like, I need my stones. But the movie was just overall amazing. It was dope. It was so much like it had you all over the place emotionally, all of that, and like all the way up until the end. And I just thoroughly enjoyed that movie itself. And like I said, this movie could easily be my number 1, but it can go back and forth between that and my number 1. But that movie just overall was so dope, and having that many just superheroes and Marvel Avengers in it, oh my god, it was so amazing. I can't wait for the second part. It's gonna be so dope when it comes out. But that has to be my number 2.
All right. I'll go with my number 2. My number 2 is just like JG's, is Black Panther. I mean, he's explained enough about it. Just a really overall really good movie. It lived up to the hype. I thought it was well written. It was excellent, just excellently done, produced, directed, everything. I really didn't have many complaints about the movie at all. I thought it was one of those things, like you said, with Killmonger being one of those, they made you sympathize with him, and it worked. I mean, to me, I think I like that better more so than how they did with Infinity War, where they tried to make you kind of sympathize with Thanos. I mean, they tried, but it didn't work on me. So, but they tried. But yeah, I thought it was well written. Everything it just felt fresh. It felt brand new. It didn't feel like a same old Avengers movie at Stark Tower or at the headquarters. It was like in a whole new place, a whole new technology, all this other stuff, and it brought people of color to the forefront, man. Now, let's just call it what it is. I mean, it was a great movie for that. I mean, I think it did good, for everybody to see that, people of color can be out here and do good too. We don't always have to be the sidekick. So yeah, I love that. All right, number 2, Phil.
Mine is Black Panther. I'm not gonna really say much because Flock, JD, and Siggy already said enough. So, yeah, that's my number two. Really can't say more upon it. What they said.
Siggy?
Mine was Civil War. Like I said, I could easily flip them back and forth to like how Ace had it. But I do think that Civil War, the reason why I want to put it ultimately ahead of Black Panther is just with the fact that it was it was the first movie that they pretty much made an Avengers film without it being an Avengers film. So it was just the whole cast of characters, the whole storyline. It could have easily been an Avengers movie, but it wanted to be like Ace was talking about just a single Captain America title. But because what they did with it, it worked. So they brought all the characters in. It worked real good. Introduction, Black Panther, Spider-Man, the reveal, and all that stuff. I can't ignore that. So it was just a great film.
All right. So before we get to do the number one, you can throw in some honorable mentions if you want to, and then go right into your number one. We'll start with you, Phil.
My honorable mentions was Age of Ultron, Logan, Thor 3, and Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. For my number one, I picked Deadpool. Deadpool to me was a good mix of violence and comedy. Ryan played a very good Deadpool. I think he can be the only Deadpool, in my opinion. It was a great movie. Enough comedy to be something I can't think of it right now. But it was really good to me in my opinion, and that's my number one.
All right. Ace.
Yeah, before I get to my number one, I got my honorable mentions. I got Ant-Man, which could have easily been, in my opinion, on the top 5 list, and I felt like Ant-Man was definitely slept upon. You get the original Iron Man, Thor Ragnarok, Deadpool, Logan, The Punisher, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Original, shout out to Tobey Maguire, Captain America, The First Avengers, X-Men, Days of Future Past, X-Men, the original, and then Logan. Those would be mine.
Name them all, sheesh.
No, the sad thing is that's nowhere near all of them. That's the funny part.
We need a top 10.
It really sounded like it.
What you know about the Punisher, Ace?
I like the Punisher. I just couldn't put it on my top 5. I like that. But my number one, and dudes have already talked about it already. My number one is actually Black Panther, and the reason why I say this without going over what they already said. The movie itself spoke volume for everything, but that was really the first Marvel movie to make me feel the way I felt before. Like at the ending too, like I legit was sitting in goosebumps, like for the after 15 to 20 minutes afterwards, just like, what did I just see? Like that movie is ridiculous. I personally can't wait until the director's cut comes out. Like when I feel like how movies or TV shows that I used to watch as a kid, the documentary of the Jackson 5 and Roots, stuff that you really want to see, especially as an African American and as a male of color. And I can honestly say that Black Panther is going to be one of those movies that when I have kids one day, that I will show my kids, and I want them to see this is us in a positive way. We can be superheroes too. We don't always have to be the sidekicks. Black is beautiful and all of that. And that's why I put Black Panther as my number one choice.
Okay.
Very well said.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's see. Siggy?
Honorable mention, Avengers, the original one. I think we gotta give a shout out to that because it actually, brought all the characters together and then introduce others, etc. Great movie. Iron Man, the first one, Logan, and Deadpool. Those are the honorable mentions. My number one, though, by far, I know it's still fresh, but it's Infinity War. The lead up to it, the 10 years in the making. I know the press didn't get it. They thought that people were introducing characters, but if you followed it all along, like we watched every movie except for somebody didn't watch Doctor Strange. But but if you watch all the movies, it was just wow. And I got that whenever I watched that movie, it was that whole thing where it was like wow. And it went so fast, but it was just long enough, but it just felt like it went so quick because everything was just like happening at once. And by the time it ended, you're just, I mean, like I said, that's really the only word you could say was wow. And it was just one of those things where the feelings of it was like, holy cow, they pulled it off, and it was just great. It's everything you expected it to be. Maybe you didn't expect some of the people to vanish, but definitely you expected it to be a great film. It lived up to the hype.
Spoiler alert.
Well, everybody, we already made the spoiler movies or the reviews, so everybody's
it's
watching
true.
this, so they should already know that. But it was just, and like I said, I had to put it number one because there's another movie where I cheered for the bad guy, and they weren't afraid. That's the thing too; they weren't afraid to go, there. A lot of people thought, oh, well, everybody announced all these sequels, etc., and they didn't care. They still said, you know what, we don't care. We're still gonna mess with your minds. Here you go. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. This guy had a sequel. You're gone.
Definitely was a mind fuck.
Exactly. So I love when movies go like that route, and it was the culmination of everything. It was a great movie.
JG.
All right, honorable mentions for me: Spider-Man: Homecoming, because that was again another movie where you didn't really have a villain. Like Vulture just wanted to take care of his family, so I like that. That was a nice twist for me.
But wasn't that the same thing Sandman did though in 3?
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
I mean, wasn't he
but
just
I
trying
like
to? Wasn't he
Sandman.
just
I
trying
don't
to
like Sandman
provide for his
Vulture,
daughter?
though. I don't like Sandman like Vulture. I feel like they went way more in depth with Vulture compared to Sandman. And we don't talk about Spider-Man 3. So moving on, the original Avengers, Infinity War, and Ant-Man. Ant-Man was definitely a low-key, really, really good movie. Funny as hell. For my number one, and this one was very hard because it was going to be either this one or Black Panther. I'm going to have to give my number one to Captain America: Winter Soldier. The reason why I give this one number one because the first Captain America was ass. It was very, very boring, but at the same time, in the first wave of Marvel movie for the MCU, that was one of the most important ones because they had the Tesseract in it, and a lot of people didn't like that, and they were like, "Oh, I don't really know about these." And so I really had low expectations for Winter Soldier, but when that came out, boy, like I didn't know anything about Bucky, I didn't know anything about the Winter Soldier, but that movie like blew my mind, and I was like, "Yo, like Captain America." At the time, the first wave, I was like, "This is what the second wave like. This is the best one." Like I think a lot of people were sleeping on Captain America because of the first one, and rightfully so. But when Winter Soldier came out, that was a shit. And then Civil War came out after that. But I was like, I still kind of just have this thing for Winter Soldier just slightly over Civil War because again that was kind of like it was an Avengers movie, even though it was still Captain America. That was a fucking Avengers movie.
Pretty much.
But Winter Soldier was dope from beginning to end for me, and I really liked the expanded role that Nick Fury had in this particular one. And it made me see Captain America in a different light, like being in the present day and him trying to adjust, and then all of a sudden you get a blast from your past come through, and you got to figure this shit out. Like it was wild, and then the relationship between him and Black Widow during the time too. It was a really dope movie. So this is gonna be my number one, but it could easily be interchangeable with Black Panther just because how good that movie was.
All right. With me, my honorable mentions, I gotta go X-Men First Class, Winter Soldier, Deadpool, Blade, and this last honorable mention could have easily been number one because I was torn between this one and my actual number one, and I'm picking that's Civil War. But I gotta go with the OG Avengers movie, the original Avengers movie. That's my number one. I love the movie. I thought it was a great movie. It was the first one that had them all in there. It did a lot, man. Those fights, man, especially when especially when Hulk, start climbing that building and going to work. That was like, yo, let's get it. You know what I mean? The interactions between Thor and the Hulk, I thought was great. Watching Black Widow do her thing, and then also with Captain America and Iron Man, both kind of like jockeying for that number one spot to be the man of the team of the group. I thought that was kind of cool too. So, and it just played out to the movies up until right now. So, yeah, I thought that was exceptionally done movie. Especially, I think Hulk was like the best part of that first Avengers movie, in my personal opinion. Hulk and Thor kind of stole the show there. I also would have threw Ant-Man in there as an honorable mention too, but I didn't want to name like 8 movies. So, but yeah, so there we have it.
They're all pretty much honorable
This
mentions.
dude, yeah, I mean, because you could put a bunch of them in there honorable mentions, like because Deadpool almost actually beat out Spider-Man too. I almost put Deadpool in there at number 5, so because I love Deadpool. And yeah, so there you all have it. I know some people are not gonna agree with somebody's list, but that's the beauty of the thing. This is our picks. You can put your picks in the comment section. No need to get mad because we don't think the way you think. We don't all share a brain, and neither do you with us. So yeah, so there you have it, man. GI5, top 5 Marvel movies. Siggy, you want to say something in closing to the people?
Is there even a list where we can make 5 DC movies? Like, there's only like 2 movies, right?
I won't even be a part of that shit.
I was waiting for the DC
do that. Yeah, do that without me.
We can do the top 5 worst DC.
I mean, if I picked them, they'd be 2 or 3 of them would be Batman movies from like early '90s.
They would just this top 3 would be the new Batmans for me.
Batman.
It'd be Batman 1 and Batman 2.
It would be better if we did
Yeah, and it'd be Dark Knight. Yeah.
It'd be better if you did the DC animated movies.
Facts.
You
And
might
we
be
just
right.
triggered like a whole bunch of just DC fans right now.
The Killing Joke would be number 1. All right, Phil, since you are the guest, you want to say something to the people?
I want to thank the GI crew for allowing me to be in this video. If you want to be in the video, go to their Patreon.
Oh, okay.
It was.
I was gonna do that, but you go ahead and do it, man. Save me something.
Shameless plug. It was great. It was fun laughing at with the guys. I would definitely do a next video with you guys.
All right, guys, we gonna keep you in mind. Ace.
No, just shout out to everybody for coming through. As always, y'all already know what to do. Be sure to hit that like button, share it with a friend, tell a friend. You know, we just try and grow out there, and we appreciate everybody's support. And we all in this together, y'all. At the end of the day, so if y'all really want to see us succeed, just continue to rock with us, man. We got some big things in store for y'all. So shout out to all y'all. Y'all have a great night or day whenever you're watching this.
There you go. JG.
Man, this list was very, very hard. Originally, I thought that we were gonna do the MCU, but when we expanded it to all the Marvel movies, oh boy, like I said, my list could probably be changed. But it was actually a lot of good Marvel movies. I don't see how like nobody can like not like any of these Marvel movies. It doesn't even have to be in the regular MCU. Like dang, like you saying that people like children because you like Marvel movies. I've been saying some crazy stuff. It's like I don't know, man. I don't know. I think you don't like movies if you don't like at least some of these Marvel movies that came out. But shout out to everybody that was listening when this video comes out.
Yeah, all right. We'll see. When I got time, dog. That's all I'm gonna say. Moving on. Yeah, we'll go to me here real quick. First of all, shout out to myself for putting such a star-studded cast together and making a very good video come apart. You know what I'm saying? With these good ideas we all coming with. No, I'm just playing. Let me stop. Appreciate everybody that took time to watch the video, or if you're just listening to it or whatever you're doing. Once again, feel free to sign off in the comment section with what you would have picked. Also, if you want to be a part of this, kind of like how Philly Phil is, we do have good tiers, select tiers to allow you to be a part of this. If you want to support the Patreon, you can be a part of videos such as this one and others as well. So yeah, and as I will say in every video for the next month probably, in closing, I would say, regardless of what you hear here tonight or today, depending on when you're watching this or listening to this, do not let this distract you from the fact that the Avengers blew a 5-1 Infinity Stone lead.
Oh no.
With that being said, I'm Flock for Game Illuminati. We out of here, y'all. Peace.